Okay, students, good evening. Let's continue talking about book the third, or the third part of the book. We already talked something about chapter 1, and chapter 1 was entitled Another Thing Needful. You know, this chapter may be related in one way or another with the first chapter of this novel, when the chapter was entitled Only Thing Was Needful. It means that at that time we needed only facts, according to the philosophy of that time, according to the philosophy of Mr. Gradgrind. And Mr. Gradgrind focused upon the facts, statistics, and calculations, and he supposed that everything was needed for all those things. Facts or science, the only things, needed in our lives or in their lives. So he lived and he educated people, educated his children, educated other children with his philosophy, with that way of teaching, with that way of facts or science or calculation. He did not know that in life there are things other than facts or science also needed. And this chapter, the chapter first, or chapter 1 in the third book, Mr. Gradgrind realizes or discovers that we need another thing besides facts. We need, or his education, or his children are in need for things other than that. He told them, other than that, or facts, or statistics, or calculation, or utilitarian, or money, etc. So this is, this chapter, chapter 1, is a moment of realization. It is a moment of discovery. It is a moment of the change within the personality, not only with Mr. Gradgrind, and even Louisa or Harthouse invoked Louisa to find herself. He invoked her, invoke it means with you, okay? So he helped her to discover herself. He helped her to find herself. Why? Because he gave her senses, gave her emotions that one day, Louisa did not believe that she is in need for. That she sacrificed herself for her father and for her brother. She neglected herself, but now she discovers that she must look for herself. She must realize herself. She must take care of herself, not for others. That's why she went to her father to speak with him and to blame him and to tell him that now you must save me. Your philosophy, your way of educating me now is useless, and I need an outlet. Outlet means makhraj. I need an outlet for my situation, an outlet of my problem. So Mr. Gradgrind realized that realized the situation of his children, especially Louisa, and he decided to help her. You know that individual or human beings, according to the psychologist, منهم Freud, he said that human beings is just instincts. Instincts mean غرائز, okay? So he wanted to fulfill those instincts. Mr. Gradgrind wanted to fulfill his instincts of money, instincts of society, instincts of his position in the society, but he neglected the instincts of heart, instincts of feelings or fancy or imagination. Louisa also, she neglected those things. Those things, emotion or fancy or imagination, according to the writer, according to Charles Dickens, they were the basic natural instincts, basic natural instincts. Okay, maybe the surroundings related to society, related to social context. I mean, in need for money, in need for government, in need for friendship, etc. Those related to the outside, to the context. Okay, in linguistics we have the context, يعني هذا the surroundings. Okay, if you want to understand an utterance, you must relate it to the surrounding. So if you want to understand Mr. Bounderby, you must relate him to the context. And the context was the industrial society, was in the industrial context. At that time, maybe, I don't know, maybe the utilitarian philosophy, maybe it was the only way to survive, okay? It was the only way to achieve success, to achieve money, or to live, at least. But Charles Dickens has another point of view, and that point of view was natural instincts also needed, okay? Feelings are needed, emotions are needed, and that's why his novel is entitled Hard Times. As I told you, Hard Times did not refer to sanction, to poverty, to difficult situations, or related to, for example, children suffering, etc. No, what Charles Dickens meant, or what was meant by that title, was or is the when a human being is deprived or separated from his natural instincts. And by natural instincts, it means emotions or fancy or imagination. When people prevented to use them, when people departed from those emotions, then it will be what? It will be hard times. Okay? So, again, what Charles Dickens meant by hard times was when people were deprived from fancy, using imagination, or using the feelings. And the best example here in this novel is Louisa. Louisa was prevented by her father from using imagination or love. Even she asked him before she got married, she asked him about the word love. Okay? He told her that love is useless, since we are an industrial age. So emotions, love is useless for you. So she was convinced that emotion or feelings was or were useless in her life. But now she comes to the moment that she realizes that she was mistaken. She has been mistaken by that philosophy, or by that point of view. So from now on, we are talking about about the change within the two main characters, Mr. Bradbury and Louisa. As I told you, Louisa also, she has been changed toward Sissy, okay? And before their relationship was very cold, but now she realizes that, Louisa realizes that Sissy was right. Sissy now is her model in life, okay? So she decides, Louisa decides to reconciliate. Reconciliate. Reconciliate, it means that to إعادة الرelation. Yes, المصالحة. Yes. So she decided to reconciliate with the Sissy, because that Sissy is now her model in life. Now we have some extracts. We must to underline them in this chapter. Open your books or text on page 174. Almost in the middle of the page, it would be hopeless for me. Have you seen it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. It would be hopeless for me, Louisa, to endeavor to tell you how overwhelmed I have been, and still am, by what broke upon me last night. The ground on which I stand has ceased. Look, the ground on which I stand. Which ground?
His philosophy.
His philosophy, his way of teaching or education.
His mindset.
Yes, the ground on which I stand has ceased to be solid under my feet. Solid? What do you mean by solid?
يعني صلب.
Yes, يعني solid. Okay. Now, the ground under my feet is ceased. It stopped to be, to be solid. It stopped to be hard. Okay. Now I sank in the mud. Okay. So the ground on which I stand has ceased to be solid under my feet. The only support on which I learned, and the strength of which it seemed, and still does seem, impossible to question, has given way in an instant. I am stunned by these discoveries. I have no selfish meaning in what I say, but I find the shock of what broke upon me last night to be very heavy indeed. The shock, the shock of his daughter. She could give him no comfort herein. She had suffered the wreck of her whole life upon the rock. I will not say, Louisa. طبعا هذا من اللي يحكي؟ اللي يتكلم هو Mr. Grady Bryan, her father. I will not say, Louisa, that if you had by any happy chance undeceived me some time ago, it would have been better for us both, better for you, for your peace, and better for mine. For I am sensible that it may not have been a part of my system to invite any confidence of that kind. I have proved my system to myself, and I have rigidly administrated it, and I must bear the responsibility of its failure. I only entreat you to believe, my favorite child, that I have meant to do right. Okay, if I ask you, what is meant by these lines? What do you know about these lines?
Sir, may I?
Please raise your hand, and I can't see your hands. I can't see your hands. Yes, Haura.
Yes, sir. Mr. Gradgrind in this line meant he was very proud with his daughter. He was very his philosophy and his way was wrong. He finally know that, and he finally started to be a harsh man, to be a kind man with her. He know that all the life that Louisa lived since she child, and until now she is.
Thank you, Zainab Hashim.
Yes, sir. I think Mr. Gradgrind realized that there's a loophole in his philosophy.
Yes, loophole, good. This is, we mentioned it, loophole in his philosophy, good. Yes. Naba Adil.
Yes. Sir, I think in this line, Mr. Grant expressed regret what he did in his child and philosophy he followed. He finally realized that it's a way to apologize to them and to fix, and he tried to fix things together.
Okay. Ahmed Ali Ghali.
Thank you, sir. I think finally Mr. Gradgrind discovered the one thing the human being needful, the one thing that we all of us needful. I think that Louisa needed.
We can't say it is one thing. One thing it means, according to the Gradgrind, was the facts. Okay, you mean another thing is needful. Yes.
Another
right.
thing. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right. Hassan.
Yes, doctor. As my colleague says, that Mr. Gradgrind here realized that his philosophy was something like wrong or mistaken, because the results were wrong. But we can realize a good bright side of Mr. Gradgrind here. It is the confession. He confesses that he realized that his philosophy was wrong. He didn't. He was not proud. Okay, let's say he didn't have a pride over his mistaken philosophy, or let's say when he discovered his philosophy was wrong, he confessed about that, and he impliedly yes, delivers or gives regret about this thing.
Okay, thank you, Hussein. Rasha Muhammad.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Gradgrind emphasizes the importance of fact, and he recognized finally the importance of emotional understanding.
Yes, right.
He tells Louisa he wished he had known about her polite Aral, but he has always dismissed any hints of emotional express from Louisa. It is possible the dramatic event of her breakdown.
Yes, right. Yes, right, Rasha. Okay. Never. Okay. What else? You know, in this extract we have two or three, just two words. I am responsible. I must bear the responsibility of its failures. Responsibility of its failure. It means that the responsibility of the failure in my system, the failure in my education, or the failure in my point of view. Okay, so this is a kind of confession, as Hussein said. It's a kind or a moment of realization, or it is a loop, or it is a moment of discovery of the loophole in that philosophy. Of course, this is what Charles Dickens wanted to say, or wanted to tell us. Okay. Little further. My dear, still who is speaking? Mr. Gradgrind. My dear, I have remained all night at my table, pondering again and again on what has so painfully passed between us. When I consider your character, when I consider that what has been done to me for hours has been cancelled by you for years, when I consider under what immediate pressure it has been forced from you, at last I come to the conclusion that I cannot but mistrust yourself. Okay, now this is a realization that he was, or he is now mistrust himself. Mistrust, it means that he lost his confidence in his character or in himself. Okay, a little further. Some persons hold. Have you seen it? In the middle of the page. Some persons hold. He pursued, still hesitating, that there is a wisdom of head, and that there is a wisdom of heart. I have not supposed so, but I have said, I mistrust myself. I have supposed the head to be all sufficient. It may not be all sufficient. How can I venture this morning to say it is? It if that other kind of wisdom should be what I have neglected and should be the instinct that it wanted lose. Okay, can you explain this or these lines? The wisdom of heart, the wisdom of head. بقية الطلبة. This is very easy and I explained it. Try to speak whatever you like. You know, literature and novel. It's a subject to improve your level of English, to improve your way of speaking, way of saying yourself, saying your mind. So please don't lose it. Yes, Hamza Shakir. Hamza Mahsen.
Yes, Mr. Actually, during these lines, probably Sisi, we can say Sisi is the only or the merely person in a grand-grained house that she has the wisdom and understanding about human beings, let's say, or about others' behavior. We can say she's the most understandable girl in that house, and it's very different if we notice during the books. It's very different than others. She has a wit. She has a wit to know what is going on around her. So we can say simply she's understandable one.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Mariam Abid Ali.
Yes, sir. From these lines, I think that now Mr. Gradgrind realized that his way of thinking and his way when he raises his children, that education is not enough. That wisdom in their feelings, and if they think in a natural way, and also in a way, but still they have to study. But he now sorry.
We have a problem in connection.
تسمعني أستاذ؟
I think that yes, I think there is a.
Ahmed Ali Ghali. Oh, please,
Opening
mute your mic. Ahmed Ali Ghali.
Yes, sir, thank you very much. I think the wisdom of the heart is related to desire, related to love. But yes, but the wisdom of the brain that's related to the fact, to artistic, to scientific. That's what Mr. Gradgrind wants to look until now. Mr. Gradgrind wants to eager Louisa to go with the brain, to go with the wisdom of the brain. I think that.
Yes, right. Now this is the time of division, the time of calculating types of wisdom, types of philosophy. Now he is realizing that there is, or maybe he already knew. Okay, now he can speak about two wisdoms: wisdom of head and wisdom of heart. Okay, and he said that the wisdom of head is, he thought that all sufficient. Okay, sufficient, it means kafi. But now he discovered that the wisdom of head is unable to pass for the second side or for another side. Okay, he discovers that the wisdom of head is insufficient, غير كافي, and that previously he knew that, previously he was convinced that what was needed or what is needed is only facts, but now facts related to head, and head is not sufficient, is not enough for his life or the life of people. He said that it may not be all sufficient. How can I venture this morning to say? It is if that other kind of wisdom should be what I have neglected. He neglected what? He neglected another kind of wisdom, which was the wisdom of heart. I have neglected, and should be the instinct that is wanted, Louisa. Look, instinct. Instinct, it means, natural sources, natural instincts. You know that I just mentioned in the beginning of this session or this lecture that I told you that the human beings were just, instincts, collection of instincts. Okay, these instincts are natural instincts, but they are affected by the, by the surroundings, by the context. Okay, some of them, they are natural instincts. Natural instincts, it means that they come naturally without any that context. For example, love, emotions. Okay, يعني أكو بعض الأحيان مو بدينا هاي instincts، هاي غرائز، هاي inborn instincts، هي موروثة أو يعني ويانا. Okay, so look to the changing of dialogue, look to the changing of discourse. Before discourse, his speech or his dialogue was filled, was filled with the philosophy of utilitarianism, with the philosophy of science, facts, calculations. But now his discourse, his speech, his sentences, are filled with emotions, with instincts, with heart, etc. And this is the radical change in his personality. Now, if I ask you that, for example, that Mr. Gradgrind is a round or flat character?
May I, sir?
Okay.
It's a round character, son.
He is a round character. Why round character?
Because his character changing during the novel.
Okay, good. Yes. Because his character is changing or developed or improved throughout
his trait and anything else.
Yes, good. Saja. Okay, so he is round character because his personality, his character is improved and developed. Yes, Shuruq, you have something to say? Okay.
Mr. Gradgrind, now he admits that there must be a balance between emotion and facts, heart and head, okay? Since he failed in choosing the line to follow in life, because he did feel, let's say, about his daughter life. And can we say that Gradgrind is a tragic hero?
Okay, let me ask this for his students. Can we say he's a tragic hero?
Since he represents the consequences that come from his fellows, and his fellows is his philosophy or his mindset.
Okay.
His
okay.
fellows. Okay.
What do you say to students? How can you answer this? Maybe you will face in the exam like this question. Do you think that he is a tragic hero?
May I?
May I? Okay.
أستاذ ممكن؟
Okay, go ahead, Miss Mariam.
Sorry. I don't think that he is a tragic hero because he doesn't have anything to lose, but his daughter just blaming him, or just he feels sorry about his way of thinking. That and I want to say that his way of thinking is what leads for Louisa's condition, but there is nothing else This is what I want to say.
Okay. Yes, Hussein.
Thank you, Doctor. I can say that Mr. Gradgrind here, he's not a tragic in the sense of a tragedy. Why? Because the tragic hero, someone who experienced by some troubles, some problems during the events of the play or the novel or the story in general. So, but Mr. Gradgrind faced the problems in the end of this novel. Okay, during the novels there is no problems, but after that the garnering and reaping. Okay, what we has snowed. He faced the problems.
Okay.
So here
thank
we
you.
cannot say that he is a tragic hero in the sense of a tragedy, because the protagonist faced the problems during let's say all of the acts of the play or the
Yes.
of the plot.
Yes, thank you, Hussein. Yes, thank you to raise this point. You know that tragic hero, for the word hero, we must have Aristotelian characteristics. Okay, by Aristotelian characteristics, it means that if we say a hero, it is a hero in the traditional sense. You know that nowadays or in modern literature, we don't have hero in the literal sense or the traditional sense. What we can substitute it by the word protagonist. Okay, you know protagonist.
Yes, sir. It means
Yes.
hero or بطل.
Synonym of hero.
Not hero, but if you say hero يعني بطل، البطل هذا عنده إنجازات، البطل عنده فالdeeds. Okay. Protagonist, it means main character.
Major character, yes.
Okay, major character. Okay, the character around who? Okay, the events revolve or take place. Okay, so for me, Mr. Gradgrind, as for Louisa, they are victims of the utilitarian philosophy. They are victims of that age, that Charles Dickens, who wanted to, he wanted to say that those people were victims of neither rich people nor poor people could escape from that philosophy, the effect of that philosophy. Okay, شلون هسه مثلا عندنا capitalism, maybe both of them, rich people and poor people, they are victims of the harshness of the materialistic system. Okay, يعني هسه بالوقت الحاضر all of them, all of us, they are victims of the systems. Okay, and ما عندنا فد system perfect or utopian system. ما عندنا utopianism. You know utopia يعني فد شيء perfect. ما عندنا perfect. اكو عيوب واكو محاسن. Okay, so here I can say he is a victim rather than hero, tragic hero. Yes, Hamza.
But he had flaws. Oh, sorry.
He has a flaw. Yes, he has a flaw. Yes.
But Louisa don't have flaws. She's just a victim. She's innocent. She
May I
didn't
say
do
something?
anything wrong.
Who said she has no flaws? Who said?
She's a victim of her father's philosophy.
But she
She didn't make anything wrong. She just followed the line of his father. Her father.
No, ya Shuruq. She did a big mistake.
May I answer this?
Okay, Ahmed.
I think Louisa is not a victim by her father, because her father is another example as a victim for the system at that time. Okay, he is. Dickens wants to say that the education moved one by one from father to the sons, to the children. I think.
Okay. You know, Shuruq, she sacrificed herself. She sacrificed her future for the sake of her father and for Tom. Okay? and she accepted the marriage. That was not a flaw?
I don't know actually.
Okay,
She's
no
just a
problem.
victim.
No problem. I'm not
Maybe
saying that I'm totally sure. Listen, I'm not saying that I'm totally right. Okay? At all. I will not say at all I'm totally right. No. No.
Okay, let's say that they are all victim for the sequences of that time, for the
Yes.
rules that's just that time. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe even Tom. Even Tom. He's a victim. If not, I'm mistaken. He is also a victim.
Yes, for sure. He has the same position with his sister.
Okay, yes, Naba Adil, you have something to say?
I mean, sir, the condition between Louisa and her Tom is different. I know they're both them is a victim for the utilitarian philosophy of their father, but we are known that Louisa tried to change, but Tom don't really have to try to change. He actually used his sister for his own benefit. So I think
Yes.
the question is different for both.
Yes, yes. So the difference between Louisa and her father that Louisa will lose too much. يعني مستر جرادي جرايند يعني شنو اللي خسره أو شنو راح يخسره؟ ما أعتقد مثل لويزا. Louisa, she lost her present life, maybe even her future life. Am I right? So maybe she is doubled, or she is really a victim of حتى Tom, he is a victim. But we can say that Louisa is the maybe what do you say? She has been lost double or triple. Okay. Anyways, this is an open-ended discussion.
Sir,
Okay. Yes.
sir, I want to ask something. Can we say that Heart House love, even if we don't know if this love real love or not, this love has a benefit or benefited Louisa? She discovered herself because this love. Can we see that?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Without Heart House, without the role of Heart House, maybe Louisa will stay on her tone of life. Maybe stay in her present or past life. Okay, but the appearance of Mr. Harthouse in her life changed her. Okay, made her realize that she is in need for heart. He helped her. He invoked her to find herself. Okay, you know that he motivated her emotions. He motivated her heart. Okay, toward life. Before, maybe she was thinking only about about others. She was thinking about her father. She was thinking about Tom, about her brother Tom. But now she is thinking about her heart. She is thinking about herself. That's why she hurried to her father to claim, okay, to claim her present situation, to claim her present problem.
Her thinking about herself, you mean?
Yes, maybe if you face a question that the role of Heart House in the plot or in the novel, okay, you can mention them. You can mention these things. Okay. Anyways, let's move to our chapter for today. اللي هو very ridiculous. Chapter 2. You know that at the end of this chapter, I want you to think about two questions or 2 points. How could you explain Heart House in this chapter? He is an evil. He is a good man. He is selfish. He is thinking about himself only, or what is he? Okay, of course, by the end of this chapter. Another thing is that you know that this chapter also gives us some hints, new hints on Sissy, on the character of Sissy. Okay, so I need these 2 points at the end of this chapter. Okay, I think Adra, she is going to present this chapter. Am I right? Adra Ali, am I right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, yes. Are you ready, Adra?
Yes, yeah, I'm ready.
Do you have any sharing screen?
Yes, yes.
Or
I have PowerPoint.
you will present it, or another student?
لا me.
You will?
Yes.
Okay. وانا اسمك انجليزي ولا عربي؟
عربي استاذ.
Adra Ali Mahsen, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you are now co-host. Please go ahead. Okay, you know that very ridiculous. The title here, you must find ridiculous, very ridiculous, refers to whom, okay? And we have to ask for a summary for this chapter. Okay, Adra, now the mic is yours, and please
the recording started.
Be brief and focus upon the main points. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, yeah. Yes, that's correct. استاذ عاد خلي
Are you using 2 devices?
استاذ خلي رفاه تعرض.
Adra, you hear me?
استاذ خلي رفاه تعرض.
منو؟
رفاه حيدر.
رفاه حيدر. Okay. Okay, Rafah Haider, you are co-host.
Hi everyone. We discuss about chapter 2. The book third. كان واضح رفاه.
كان واضح
رفاه كان واضح بس هسه ماكو.
واضح السكرين شوت or not؟
اي رجعي هسه رجعي عرضي على الباوربوينت. بس غلق المايك رفاه. منو الفاتح مايك رجاء؟ Okay. Hi everyone. We will discuss about chapter 2. Chapter 2, the book third. We have in this chapter main point or main actions. Lucy don't come to Mr. Harthouse and meeting between Mr. Harthouse and Tom and conversation between Mr. Harthouse and Sissy. Mr. Harthouse leave Cooktown and his work and write a letter to Mr. Gradgrind and Mr. Bounderby. We have in this picture conversation between after that who answer in this question what does the narrator main name of this chapter.
May I?
I will choose from last raise hand, please. Hamza.
Yes, Miss, thank you. Actually, in terms of our question, the narrator means very ridiculous. Actually, these words are related to the just say me, I lost my chain of.
Okay.
Tom.
Yes.
Tom, because he was very harsh and dealing with the sister of Sissy when he came to our house to tell her I need to talk to her, and this is I think the title of this chapter means so related to the talks.
Thank you. And this it reflects the name this chapter. It reflects to Mr. Harthouse because he selfish and didn't think what happened to Louisa if their relationship continue, and he considered to Louisa asks Sissy asks the second I need one person to answer this 4 points. I mean second question. Second question. Yes. Luma. لما موجودة. شهد عبد الخالق.
Yes, miss.
Could you answer?
Can I start? Yes. The main points of the conversation between Tom and Harthouse that Tom asked about the reason of the delay. Why was he late? Harthouse answered him that he was detained.
Yes.
Sorry,
Thank you.
miss.
Thank you, because Lucy don't come to Mr. Harthouse in last night, and he discussed. Mr. Harthouse decide to come to her house and to bank to see if there is a message from her, but he didn't. In last slide, please, Rafa. Yes, this slide we discussed. No, slide 2. And this slide we discuss why Sissy visit Mr. Harthouse. عذراء موجودة؟
Yes, miss.
Please answer.
Thank you. Sissy go to Mr. Harthouse and speak to him when they were alone. If I don't understand, I don't, sir.
Sissy said, "What's your honor as a gentleman binds you to join other matters?" And the blood really rose in his face as she began in these words. And Sissy said, "I'm sure you keep my visits secret and to keep secret what I'm going to say."
Yes, thank you.
Alone as you and I am alone, as you say, in coming to your sir. I have no advice or encouragement beyond my own hope. And Sissy tells Harthouse that he will never see Louisa again, and that he must leave Cooktown and that.
Yes, thank you. To tell Sissy come to Mr. Harthouse to tell never be exposed to Louisa again and consider as dead. And last the other question we did what did Louisa And last question, what emotion when he sees Sissy? I mean Mr. Harthouse. Who can answer?
May I?
Isra?
Yes, miss. Yes.
Yes.
Adra, you have a problem. Adra, there is noise beside you. I don't know what you're doing.
Sorry, sir.
Okay.
That's clear now?
Okay, it's clear, but don't move the device. You are moving something. ما تقدرون تشيلون من البيت يعني ولا تحركون من ما أعرف.
لا أستاذ مو فاتحة مروحة يعني طفيتها هسه.
لا مو صوت مروحة، لا مو صوت مروحة، وإنما صوت فد شيء يتحرك يعني شلون كأنما فد ميز فد شيء. أوكي. anyways.
إيه صح أستاذ.
إسراء عقيل mute yourself.
Yes, who can answer what the emotion?
May I?
Yes, Rasha.
May I? Yes, Rasha. Okay, thank you. When a messenger arrived to say whom has arrived to see him, think it must be Louisa, he is surprised and confused when it's true out to be Sissy, who tells him respectfully but firmly that she has come on Louisa behalf to without. I mean, he's supposed for beauty her face and to his astonishment Harthouse found that he cannot resist Sissy good and Ernest's heart. She is so pure and fair and firm that he filled with guilt and it's unable to overcome her.
Yes, thank you. He was surprised by her and considered her as a beautiful and very calm and sublime in clothes and strong to the point that she was not afraid of him. Sorry. Another question. What Sissy asked of him and why? ضحى.
May I? Yes, may I? Yes, thank you.
ضحى.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
Sissy tells her thoughts that Louisa will never see him again as long as she lives. She lives, and that he needs to leave town and never come back. Herodotus is shocked by all of this. He promises to leave. He writes letters to Gradgrind and Bounderby saying that he is returning from the political doings, that he was in the Cooktown to do and packs up. That's it.
Okay, thank you. He asked Mr. Harthouse leave Cooktown and never to return to it because his relationship with Louisa is false. Another question: why was Mr. Harthouse in love with Louisa, and why and what consider her?
May I?
Stop.
May I?
زهرة عبد الكريم. زهرة عبد الكريم. Okay, Luma.
Yes, miss, thank you very much. Maybe he is in love with Louisa and maybe not. That all.
Okay, thank you.
May I?
Hamza. Yes, Zahra.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Maybe Harthouse he wants to keep up or to protect Sissy, and that's the reason that he in love with her.
Okay, thank you. Of course, it's not poor love. He was Lucy had him as a tool or a game until her arrived his diamond and made the color when Sissy spoke to him. Another question: if in this another question, he lived expect Lucy request. Why Mr. Harthouse leave Cooktown? Who can answer? حسين حسركم.
May I?
زهراء عبد الكريم.
May I, miss?
Yes, Rasha.
Sorry, miss, can you repeat it, your question?
Why Mr. Harthouse leave Cooktown, or is he lived exciting Sissy request? سبب طلب Sissy.
Can you answer, please?
Yes, Rasha.
Okay, thank you. I think he escaped from a very bad job while he was climax and decided not to be ridiculous and go on with this game and respect himself a little and withdraw on this thing he might say, but it is a secret declaration to himself with his sense of failure that will be his fate in his continuous in this material.
Yes, thank you. He left for several reasons, including the request of Sisi and his feeling of failure twig and feeling his mistake.
Okay, Azra, thank you so much for your presentation. لكن الPowerPoint gone with the wind. I don't know what is the problem. Anyways, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You know that I told you to think about 2 points, 2 questions. How do you explain the character of Harthouse? You know that the main event here in this chapter was the Sissy came instead of Louisa. So Mr. Harthouse was waiting Louisa to come, okay, either to meet her or maybe to elope with her or something like that. But fortunately, she did not come. Sissy comes instead of her, and he was unexpected of visiting, okay, and Sissy presents herself as a strong woman, okay, even her speech, even her conversation with Mr. Harthouse, her conversation or her speech reveals that she is a strong woman and she is the representative of the Victorian women, okay? So when Sissy asked him to leave Louisa and to leave her for her fate, he is convinced by her speech and he decided to leave Cooktown, and he wrote a letter for Mr. Gradgrind and Mr. Bounderby informing them that he is leaving Cooktown. Okay. Now, how do you explain the character of Harthouse? Okay. Is he in love with Louisa or not? Okay. If yes, is it a right way to leave her, or maybe he wants to get benefit from Louisa, or maybe he wanted to deceive her or seduce her or take benefit from Louisa? Actually, his character is not clear, and I need you to justify, I need you to explain his character. Of course, according to the text, according to the events. So, you know, this chapter reveals something new about Harthouse. Okay, how could you explain his character?
May I, sir? May I, sir? May I, sir?
Please mute yourself.
May I, sir?
And I have a list. Mute yourself, and I have a list, and I will call by your names. Zahra Haider.
Yes. We cannot consider if he loved Louisa or not. Even he said that he is just like a double with the human ship. He is a selfish in the black and didn't care about others. So he is not a perfect man, but he is not bad at the same time. He just break rules or making mistakes. He didn't care about others, but at the same time he didn't hurt them. So we cannot consider him as a good man or a bad man.
Okay, good. Yes. Shahad Abdul Khaliq.
Yes, sir. I think his person helped others. When he heard about the unhappy marriage of Louisa and talked with her, he thought he understands her. That's when the relationship between them started to develop.
Okay, good. Ali Amr.
Yes, sir. I think he's a negative person because he don't love Louisa. Just he wanted to blame her feeling. And when he failed in this point, after his last attempt to reach Louisa, he decided to leave Cooktown, not loving to Louisa. Sorry.
Okay.
Thanks.
Mariam Abid Ali.
Yes, sir. I think that Mr. Harthouse is a selfish man because he does not love Louisa. He is just admiring her, and he finds out her weakness or her weakness point because she's married to an old man. So he thinks that she will accept his offer when he told her that he likes her. So I think he is a selfish man. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Good. Okay, please, other students participate in this discussion. You know, this is a discussion, and
May I, sir?
this is a chance for you.
May I answer?
Please, mute yourself. Raja Ali.
Yes, sir. Actually, in my opinion, sir, he loved her, but his love, selfish love. But in this chapter, Harthouse appeared as educated and gentleman. He will avoid all the problem that may happen with him or with his love. He decided to leave the Cooktown.
Okay, good. Zainab Hashim.
Yes, sir. I think he's not totally evil. Yes, he's selfish and shallow man. But with Louisa, he's deal with her love as something to lose or to win, and that's why he said a great pyramid of failure. That's my opinion.
Okay, سجا. الزهراء عبد الكريم.
أستاذ بالبداية أعتذر عن قبل شوي لأن الصوت عذراء تقطع ما سمعت السؤال عاد فما قدرت أجاوب. Now I'm going to answer about your question. I think it's not bad man. I mean Mr. Harthouse because he doesn't care about the feeling of Mr. Bounderby and Louisa. So because he gave her trust to him. So I think he's a selfish man. He didn't care of anyone around him. He care about his emotion only, and he doesn't love Louisa because he make her tired in her emotion.
Okay, thank you, Zahra. You know that it is.
May I add something?
Yes, Haura.
Yes, sir. If we remember that Mr. Harthouse tells Cici that he took advantage of Louisa because father became machine and her brother is became wealth and her husband is became a beer. And after that he is doing so he had no practical evil intention of that. But even that, Mr. Harthouse have a benefit, have a benefit from this love. When Tom tells him that Louisa only married because to make him happy, and her marriage is not happy.
Okay, thank you. You know that. Okay, you know that. Please mute yourself. حتى نسيتوني شنو اريد احكي. Okay. You know that Harthouse. It is not an easy to say that Harthouse is good or bad. Okay. According to the text, even the narrator said that he is not totally evil. And one time the narrator said that he is seeking confidence on the Louisa, and he is seeking honesty in dishonesty. And then he said that he is not totally an evil. Okay, so maybe his philosophy or his way in life, his point of view in life can be summarized in his philosophy. If you open your books on page 179, okay, 179 in the middle of the page, paragraph Have you seen it? Paragraph cursing is a quick response. Have you seen it? Cursing.
Yes, sir.
And the paragraph يبدي من كلمة cursing. At the end of this paragraph, okay, there is his philosophy that what will be, will be. What will be, will be. What does it mean? What will be, will be.
يعني أستاذ اللي راح يكون خليه يكون.
شي يصير خليه يصير. شي يصير خليه يصير. It means that he is careless. Okay? Maybe he loves Louisa, or maybe he is not in love with Louisa. But his way of life, his philosophy in life is that what will be is will be. It means that he is careless about things. شي يجي خليه يجي. شي يصير خليه يصير. Okay? يعني in our life we can meet like him. يعني أكون ناس مثل ما نقول مخليها يعني خلي شي يصير خلي يصير بحياته. يعني يجي يروح واحد يجي واحد مو. So he is like that person. He is careless about his life. He is careless about the lives of others. Okay? So it can be summarized in this way. As I told you, it is a mistake, or it is difficult to say that he is good or bad. Okay? But we can justify, or we can describe him according to his philosophy that he is careless and maybe he is selfish. He is selfish man. He is thinking about himself and he does not, he does not think about others' feelings or emotions. And he is easily abandoned, Louisa. Easily abandoned, Louisa. When Sissy told him that, okay, you can leave, you can separate, okay, he said, okay. He paid her and he respected her, and he is leaving Cape Town. Yes?
Sir, can we consider that this phrase will be as a sign for Harthouse as a selfish man? Because it is clear, the phrase is so clear that is it a sign of...
what will be is that he is careless. He does not pay attention for others. Yes?
Yes, sir. Actually, I wanted to ask you about the Harthouse. We can describe it as an emotional person. Is it right?
Harthouse emotional?
Yes, because he's already...
I don't think so.
He's a changeable one.
I don't think so. But you know that maybe with a woman other than Louisa, maybe he couldn't, or he will not do like this. You know that he knew the weakness of Louisa. Okay, you know that he took information from Tom, he took information from Sparset, and he observed the way that Louisa is living or was living. So he moved and he put a plan according to that, because you know that he found that Louisa was in need for emotions, was in need for feelings, and according to that needs, he put his plan, or he moved with Louisa. Yes.
May I say something?
Yes, Ahmed.
Thank you.
Yes,
away from his personality, his honesty or not, I would say that Mr. Harthouse, if we ask, does he love Louisa or not? I think he doesn't love Louisa, because by the experience of life, or by the text itself, he returned the love immediately when he saw Sissy and admired for her. And another thing that we know, who loves someone, he never ever let him down and go away or leave him.
Yes, okay. You're right. Okay. Anyway, excuse me, Ahmed. Okay.
Sure. May I ask something?
Ahmed, you know that we don't have time. Maybe you can ask it in the... Okay, if you don't mind, ask it in the group. please, briefly. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, sir. The character is selfish in the novel, like Bounderby and Tom and Mr. Sparrow's Harthouse is the motivity only by own interest and doesn't consider how his action might impact on the other people. But the characters witness against alteration that the moral dangerous of the socially that value fact more than feeling. Ultimately, Harthouse the world is complete overpowered by C.C. Job. The love innocence. He is early sent away from the cooktown, never to break Louisa again.
Okay, thank you, Asra. You know that the second point is that Sissy appears a very strong woman, and she is the representative of the Victorian women. Okay, you know that in the Emily Bronte Wuthering Heights, you have seen that the strength of that women. Okay, the strength of those women. For example, Catherine Potter, and other female. اليوم الامتحان
أستاذ الحمد لله
باش
20 دقيقة.
Okay, I leave you right now.
شكرا.
name can Mariam will present.
نعم أستاذ.
We are so sorry that we don't have time. Okay, so yes. Inshallah يوم الأربعاء you will present. Okay, thank you so much. Yes, okay, thank you. Have a good time. نعم.
So here we come to that Harthouse who is the ridiculous.
Yeah, remind us, Zainab. Remind us next time.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.